Let's try to know how high it actually went. So 196 and then an error. I gave it about a minute or two, and we didn't have any other readings that high, but we did get like 60s and 70s. And I kind of regrouped it, cut it off short, but we didn't like nice and slow motions. I'm gonna do one round robin with everybody, kind of see where we're at with things. If there's not a whole lot going on, I'll regroup us, give us all the answers, and we'll move on. I'm not one of those guys where like, we've been here for 12 minutes, we gotta go. I wait to see what the activity's doing. So I don't time any of this, just so you guys know, we just go. So Ryder, you're gonna stay with me, everybody else spread out, stay away from the, how many vehicles we got? 3? So just don't go anywhere near those 3 vehicles. They belong to people that work down here. They get really weirded out. All right, let's do this. I know, right? Just imagine if it was your car. Yes, get you unmuted.
And I am supposed to be watching.
As soon as you get that fixed.
Those blue and black spots.
Okay.
Anything moving nice and slow. So I know you have a lot of different temperatures on the ground.
Okay. Are you seeing anything?
Nothing, yeah.
I think so. Just kind of, what are you guys getting? What is it you're listening for?
Popped up to
I'm not getting much on this this end.
Hmm?
Oh, I'm not getting D. D. E. U.
B-E-D-U.
U. What's your initials, Liza? T.
B-E-D-U-T. B-Dot. B-Dot.
I. T.
B-Dot.
T-I-H. R.
B-Dot.
So what is it you're supposed to be picking up, Ryder?
Hold this.
Huh?
Hold this.
Hold it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I. N. Eliza, what are your initials?
You. Hey, who's got the light on?
I
It's
don't
going
know.
to cause more attention to us. Sorry. There we go. We want it in the dark. The reason why, I know the brightness, like you could probably see more, but again, people get really weirded out when we're filming with lights on.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
It's going to be bad enough when I'm going to have the damn news team out here like tomorrow, and I'm going to like, guys, tone it down a little bit.
I don't know if...
I can't think of any more questions other than her initials. Sometimes it'll flash yes or no, like when I call a letter.
Okay.
But I'm not sure, because you're right, yes or no questions aren't really,
They're not relevant.
they were not relevant.
So when you get a full row, by the way, take this dial and go counterclockwise and turn it off and turn it back on to get a fresh start. Otherwise, it's going to overwrite the letters and maybe give us a false positive.
Okay, so is what I'm looking for that it's spelling at the bottom?
It's the bottom row.
Oh, okay.
Bottom row.
I got you.
How's your spirit box work coming? Did you hear anything?
Maybe.
What do you mean maybe? What'd you get out of it? It's the silliest shit. So whatever you think is funny and you might not think is relevant, it probably is.
I don't know. I was going to wait until you told us.
Well, that's the whole point. I want to make sure like what you're hearing is relevant.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, they've heard the number 13. I don't know why that's relevant. They keep hearing it over and over and over
Interesting.
again. They've heard it like 3 times, they said. So
The only thing that I have heard was breaking a leg. I don't know if that means
makes
it.
sense.
Okay.
I'm going to explain before we leave the space because I
Okay.
give you all the answers. I love it. Breaking a leg. All right. Where are we at on your spirit box?
I can't decipher. It's hard. Like I hear a voice go through it. I don't know if I'm just a radio voice.
Why am I doing both?
I can take this one if you want me to.
Huh? You can also listen. Oh. Whoa, 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 whoa.
That's trees.
That's a 3 at the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's nobody over there. What am I seeing? That's just right under the light.
Like I would like to be 7. I want 7.
What is that? That's 2 eyes and a nose. Ryder? Is that not 2 eyes and a nose? Is that not 2 eyes and a nose?
Oh, I'm trying to listen.
Hey, Nick?
That's nothing. That's just the tree.
Oh, the tree will do that.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I forgot because of the leaves. It'll mess it up. So I did actually hear something that he said he would explain to me.
What do you hear?
Breaking a leg. I had asked how did she die, and I'm not sure if that was me or something else, but when I told him I heard breaking a leg, he said, yeah, that makes sense. I'll tell you why when I'm done.
What should I ask?
I don't know. Here, you want the volume? I don't want to blast out your ears.
Here. Can you turn it up?
Yeah, little dial at the top. It's a red, round, yeah. You got it? So the trees always do that. I got that on the other tree too. So what he said here, can you hear me, Ryder? What he mentioned here for the spirit box was ask about Eliza's death. How old was she when she died? How did she die? Anything about her death is what we were kind of going at.
So the only thing I've asked her is how. So what else can I? Because he said not to use yes or no questions. So ask when she died or when she was born, and she might give us an answer.
I'm interested to hear what he says about Mom, because and they're hearing something there too with some numbers, I guess.
Why is this thing not working?
He said sometimes it'll pick things up and sometimes it won't. No, he's now listening while I'm doing this.
Yeah, I want you guys to kind of swap them up. Ryder, have you heard anything? You haven't heard anything yet? Okay. Any letters on there I need to know about?
Nothing that makes any sense. What's on the bottom I've been paying attention to, and it's all just gibberish.
Yeah, and
So-
remember, it could be an anagram. So it could be your names, all the letters are there, they're just jumbled up. So
It does seem like that's happened a couple times,
yeah,
actually.
so I've had Eliza show up with all the letters, but it was a little jumbled up with one interference. It was E-U-L-Z-I-A. So it was Yulzia. So I had all the letters there plus a letter U, which I didn't need. It was just interference, but Eliza was there.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first nights I ever used it. You know how
Okay.
excited I was when I first had
I
it?
bet.
All right. Come back together.
From a next station after that. So you have to take those things for what they worth. Coming down here for 4 years, I can't tell you how many times it's actually occurred. Too many to count. We do get whistles all the time through radio stations, and I've had a couple of faint ones in the background. Now, what I will tell you is that if you're going to come down here on your own and use the voice recorders from your phones to try to capture whistles while you're in here, keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every morning when I'm done with your data. My office is there, my garage is here, which means I have to pass the alley every single morning when I'm done with your data, and I do it every single morning like clockwork. Especially since I got thrown out of here. You guys ready to hear that part? Because that's the fun part of the story. So, you guys are all looking at me, oh shit, who is this guy? But anyway, this alley didn't go all the way through that way. There was a wall up there. The reason why, and this was before it was Dueler's Alley, by the way, so we're going back further in time. This is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. It used to be called Cow Alley before it was called Dueler's Alley. So imagine a bunch of cows and chickens down here. What does that mean? Those bricks down at the end by Queen Street are older than the ones you're standing on. They're sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint down there from a slave child and fingerprint swipes and others. I used to take my groups all the way down there just to show off the piece of history, because we all need to see how far we've come from slavery. I don't care about the diversity of my group. We all need to see it. However, everybody thinks that something's going to happen around there because that's obviously the child's no longer living. It's from the 1700s to 100s. So I treat that brick the same way I do the brick. That's the last place you're going to find that. I'm trying to shoot my group along. It's November 26th of 2020, by the way. And I'm trying to shoot them along because I know nothing's going to happen. And it's right outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm trying to be respectful, not realizing I was actually out of bounds for hers. Yeah, I was. The new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because her father was getting screamed at, and she decided it was hysterical. So we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Simply because I work for the biggest retailer in the world in Upper Management, and I will not work Thanksgiving ever again. But simply because you all like to fight over towels. It's kind of my main shtick. So again, I worked for them for a long period of time before I started doing this. So the next day was the 28th. The dates are relevant. I'm going to get to it. So I called my partner that I had at the time, who brought me into tourism, away from retail, and I told him what happened. He laughed at me just like my daughter did, hysterically. And he said, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. That's the cutoff line for tourism Philadelphia. Otherwise, you got to reroute the group. So what I told my group, it's Black Friday. I'm sold out again. I told them I don't believe in the next story because I've never had anything happen there, but I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Obviously, we're discussing pirates next, just in case you didn't catch on there. So before we left, somebody with a spirit box, here's the name Anne. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I went, oh shit, maybe we're going to get something. We go around the corner. I told them the little bit I did know about pirates, which wasn't much because I only had a quick day to research. There was a lot of research on pirates. And somebody else heard the number 300. I don't know what it means. I wrote it down. The next day I'm doing their research, and it turns out we were there November 28th of 2020, and Bonnie's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So, seems like great evidence, right? I was actually pretty pissed off. Let me explain. I have a master's degree in creative writing, and all of my bachelor degrees are in writing as well. I need facts and data, especially when I'm doing this. Even when I'm writing fiction, I like facts and data to be able to twist it and make it into a real life type of story. Pirate stories come from pirate lore, which was written 100 years after the fact of when these events allegedly occurred. You know how hard it is to debunk pirate things going on? I will tell you what we're going to be discussing at Anne Bonnie, the next location, came from a minimum of 2 resources, because I've read 1,000,001 books on freaking pirates that I never wanted to in my entire life. Just trying to make sure what we're about to do is legit. It's a very interesting story. It's a lot of fun, and it is obviously a female heroine, depending on how you look at her. Minimum of 2 resources, but it is a 50-50 roll of the dice if she'll actually be there. So I know for some of the skeptics that I might have in the group, you think that paranormal evidence is going to be 50-50 anyway, and it's said to be seen all over town. I will explain why we're at that specific location, not because it's just within the bounds of where tours are allowed to go, but there's a specific reason of why we will be there based on Anne Bonnie's tale. So the gate before we leave, you guys are very attentive right now, by the way. So the gate behind me, remember the alley didn't go all the way through this way? In the event there was a duel down there, which looks like there might be going on right now. If there was a loser, the dead guy, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery behind me. Otherwise, they'd have to walk all the way down to Queen Street and then double back with the dead body, which is dead weight, in order to go drop the body over at St. Philip's Cemetery. The wrought iron was probably put here in the early 1900s, but you can see that the archway is definitely a part of the original wall. So a lot of people don't know why this archway and gate is actually here, but most of our gate, or the wrought iron stuff, is all done by the same person in the early 1900s. As you go around town, you can recognize his work. So I can't remember his name exactly. It's Philip something.
Bless you.
Bless you. But again, I think that covers this location. Did we hear or see anything? How's our word list?
Space.
Space. Any numbers show up on yours?
I was watching you the majority of the time, but no,
Okay.
not that I'm aware.
There was an R and I, but they were reversed.
Hi,
And
Laura.
there's
Damn, so maybe it's telling us to check the IR camera. Because 1700s goes to infrared lighting here. So
also recent.
Oh, broke it.
it's very sensitive, to be honest with you. I will tell you, like, I was a little worried about this camera tonight. So I had a team, I won't say what it was. We'll just say that this team was well past retirement.
Okay.
We'll put that out there, right?
Right.
And the tech was not going to be the focus for that.
Yeah.
I definitely made it more about the histories, and I actually added a few histories in there because I knew that they weren't going to want to spread out and explore the legal world. I will tell you that the thermal imaging camera was a major concern. So again, we didn't have much of it running, and I actually couldn't get it running for my tour on Sunday night, so I didn't even use it. It's embarrassing when you pull something out of the bag, it's not running right away, so I had to quickly divert and hurry up and get the IR camera instead. And I don't always use the IR camera because it takes forever to upload. So unless I have these level 3 cases, that's the thing that takes the longest. So I'll get that started first because it will take a few hours, and that gives me an opportunity to start uploading everything else, but that's the first thing I get started. You guys ready to learn about some rated R pirates?
Yeah, sure.
All right, nobody got my dad joke? Come on, Shane. I figured you were, of all people, would have chuckled. Come on, my daughter, when she's on the tour, she will always punch me in the arm every time I do that joke, just because it's a dad joke. So, all right, let's do this. We're gonna go back out the way we came.
Am I on or off the next step?
You can be on. There's nobody else down here. Weather static. I love it.
What's
Anything
that?
come out of yours? Nothing. It's not easy to do, is it?
No, it isn't. Not when you, yeah.
Especially when you got a guy like me talking as fast as I do, screaming right back at you.
My focus is like here.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times when I hand that off to teenagers, they just wander and they don't even pay attention to me, which is fine because they're going to get the audio anyway.
Right.
And I'm not offended. They're teenagers.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I've been doing this long enough. I can read how, like, when people are like, I'm like, what are you hearing? What are you hearing right now?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, most actually, they might
Like,
have
the basket to me is almost
words,
key.
but I thought
I'm trying to find it.
Like next year when
I
I tried
forgot
to
he
recapture
said
this with some of the camera work
3 letters or 4
I
letters.
use that date. I'm going to be looking mainly for fast. So I'm looking at the shawl. You're looking at her back. And there's a fast. Very fast signature. And it is from her. So again, yeah. Again, usually in the top 100 of best apparition spot because it is pretty damn clear what's actually going on. So we are going to spread out. I will tell you that the thermal loves to act up in here. So if it does like gives you like white lines, like staticky lines, keep it going because I want to get it filmed. But I've seen that happen where whoever was filming, their spirit box or device would stop working. It's kind of weird. It's only happened a handful of times in the 3 years that I've been coming here, but it has happened on more than one occasion, weeks apart. So take that for what it's worth. All right, let's spread out.
Do you want to help me listen, or do you want to?
Oh, yeah. And
7. What else we got?
does 22 mean anything to you?
I heard you guys say that. To me, it does not.
Okay.
I'm still going to write it down. So.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, actually it does. Dr. Ladd died at the age of 22.
Dr. Ladd.
So
Man,
you have
I wish I'd gotten what you guys got. This
Well,
only
switch it
spells
up.
words.
You're welcome to try it.
Really?
Yeah.
Here, like it won't spell
But you
a
getting
lot.
Sue over here is huge for
Yeah.
that device.
It said because I was watching it and it only it might have spelled a couple of words over there, but not very long. But then it said dim, then it was like another letter, then it was like Sue, SUE. And so I was so
wanna
happy
trade?
when you said that like
Huh?
You want to
came
trade?
up. Because
Sure. I just picked it up. I don't even. Thanks. I see that.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about that. I don't always like telling that story because of what it is. Just again, it makes people uncomfortable. So
Not me.
I don't always do. So 22, 772. We had the word red. Okay. This was in the spirit box. Okay, got it. Yeah, I'm actually excited about what you just got.
Thank you.
We've heard Somer several times.
Is this a radio station?
Yes. So you're listening for any clear words.
Oh, I just heard.
If you hear a clear word
Right.
that you think is something, share it with him.
Like you guys have 7-7. They say for 7-7. They also have 22, and that was the age of Dr. Ladd when he died from his gunshot. So they're getting on Dr. Ladd things for sure.
Okay.
Also, you don't always get that.
So maybe Dr. Ladd is here.
Yeah.
It's possible. Ask questions.
Yeah.
I just wait to see what you guys about the kids and there's several classroom kids over there and
Yeah.
other stuff. I don't know.
Really?
Oh yeah, they all describe them the same.
It's crazy.
Yep. Both hands, white shirt.
Oh wow.
Ryder, I'm gonna walk. I mean, I don't know if you want to sit right there. Or I'm just gonna walk around a little bit.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. Right?
How we doing, ladies?
Nothing so far.
We had zeros.
Yeah, I mean, hers ticked up, but we think we got to go. It like went down.
I love how like the two of you have actually partnered up, coming from different
Well, I thought
parties.
we were supposed to.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
You should.
He's got one
That doesn't always
over.
happen. People don't always like follow my direction. So
At first, we were like in that area, then we were like,
It's back this way.
Wait, were you recording?
Yes.
Anything?
Talked about some. I walked the whole thing. However, I got the most pressure where you were sitting. I got the most pressure where you were sitting.
Pressure?
My feeling.
Where? Right there?
Yeah, when I walked by it, immediate chills all the way down my body.
Really?
But we're not supposed to talk about that kind of stuff. You know, he doesn't like to do. He just wants the hard facts. But that corner right there seemed really like.
That's weird. I just kind of walked over there.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
So-
because you were over there probably.
Well, I saw that because when you sat down, I'm like, I wonder if you'll hear something over there. But I don't know. Some other people got some stuff, for sure.
I don't know. I only got one page.
Actually, the good thing is, this is part of the reason why I always like to kind of share this story, because it kind of also shows you with the shit that I see. 2 years ago, month of September, it was just like this, nice and comfortable, and I take my group to the back like I always do, because every tour likes to cut through here, and I just stay out of their way. The kid next to me, he starts to faint. And I say kid, he's like 21, 22 years old. So I have to literally pick this guy up by his armpit so he doesn't hit his head on the ground. Just going down that quick. It was a quick, like, holy cow. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We brought him over here. I got him some water, making sure he was feeling better. And they didn't want to leave the space or anything. And then I told him the history of Anne Bonny, just like I told you. This used to be the last stop. And I would tell the Sue story and a couple of others, and that would spread everybody out. Go across the street, have fun, Nick. This is your last stop. These two guys pull me aside. Nick, we are two transgender males. I had two females, just like males, just like Anne and Mary in the story, on the tour. This is the weird shit that I see. It was unexplainable, but it still made sense if you really think about it. And they were kind of like, we didn't want to say anything. And again, I don't normally ask, like, what's relationship, like I did with Shane at the beginning of the night, like, what the hell's going on here? But again, it just wasn't something I'm paying attention to. So you can imagine psychics and mediums, like, I like to have you guys show up early so I know who I'm working with. I make sure psychics and mediums do not get a spirit box. Reason for that, it's different kind of messaging. It's gonna mess them all up. And usually, I can't tell you how many of those folks have passed out on me too, and I've had to call an EMT to come and get them. So first time somebody passed out on one of my tours, I was in CPR class the next day. I'm like, oh shit, what did I sign up for? But you can see all the weird stuff that I see and why I give those warnings, because things do happen. Females coming into this space will feel like heart palpitations. I've had young ladies like actually sit across the street, like waiting for us to be done. They say, oh no, go ahead, I'm just not going in there. Like, it's just a weird space. So again, just like to put that out there, what the weird stuff that I see. And Shane's looking at me like, oh my God, who did we find? This guy is so odd. Let's get to Anne Bonny. Let's get to those quick answers, and I'll explain the next stop. Now that we've gotten things from Sue, I'm super excited about Sue being spelled out for us, by the way. That's letter by letter, and those letters are obviously not next to each other either. Anne Bonny, one of the few pictures you can find of this young lady where she actually has a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. It's kind of a haha, you've been killed by a girl kind of mentality. So again, I told you she was a badass. Obviously her hair color is red. The names of her parents, William Cormac, Mary Brennan. This was not another subliminal trick with the name Mary. We just happen to have two in the story. Mary Brennan happened to be a servant for the Cormac family. Now you can all assume and be correct on how dad met mom. So yeah, I'm not going to go into that whole 30-minute scandal. It's a fun story, but not needed here. The name of the city where Anne grew up was Cork, Ireland. So that will pop up. Nice, easy one-syllable answer. And I also like to show you what Calico Jack looked like. Calico Jack was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from British captains that he killed, possibly from the ship the Martina. I don't know. It just sounds like that Martina. It just sounds like a ship name to me. I don't know why. So very weird. But anyway, Calico Jack, his last name is Rackham, and his father was a tailor. So textiles were very important to the Rackham family. So Calico Jack basically translates to fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from. Some books will tell you that it actually means fancy pants, but Jack and jacket just seem a whole lot easier and a bigger tie to me, especially for somebody that studies words. I just don't see fancy pants coming from a jacket, if that makes sense. It was usually the jackets that he stole. It's not going to steal a captain's pants. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. The name of the ship that Calico Jack had that Anne joined was called the Kingston. I do not expect the word Kingston to show up in any of your spirit boxes. I expect the word King. It's kind of what color is a big red barn? Blood. Same mentality. Kingston is not a normal term from our Charleston radio stations. You're not going to hear the word Kingston. It's more likely that you'll hear the word King. However, the open speaker device that we're using does pick up more disembodied voices. One of the first times I used it, I told you, this used to be the last stop. I'm packing things up. We had a really light night with that team, and I took it from them. It was still running, and we all heard the word pirate, plain as day. And it wasn't part of a sentence like the phonetics of the Pittsburgh Pirates won the game kind of thing. Luckily for us, the person was standing next to a person with a camera, and we had the audio from the camera for me to be able to analyze it and give it back to everybody and separate it out for them. Super cool stuff. But the word Kingston, I would expect out of yours, but not anybody else's. So just kind of keep that in mind. What we're doing next is called the Estes method. Anybody not familiar with this? I can explain. Okay, you guys have no idea what this is?
Nope.
Beautiful. So, in the next location, I am going to take two people, one per... Yeah, not you.
That was a good catch.
Paisley, have a seat. Yeah, hand off your device. Nope, you need
Yeah. Give him my hand.
you can hand this off.
Okay.
These gentlemen can handle that, I'm sure. So here's how this is going to go down. I'm going to hand them the equipment, which you guys are not going to be putting on until we come back. We are going to go over to that monument right there. I'll give the rest of these folks the history. The reason I say don't put on the equipment yet is because if I'm blindfolding people in the middle of a dark park, it never looks good. You guys get my point, right? So with this whole thing, when we come back, I'll give you a few tips and tricks on what to expect out of this. This is a disposable blindfold. You get to keep your own eye boogers and earwax. So congratulations, you win on that one. Let's see. This VR headset. I will put my phone in it when we come back once it's all set up. So you just need to hang on to that for me. And then you can set those next to you because I can put those on you when we come back because you're going to be blindfolded.
Sounds good.
So I'll give you, like I said, a few tips and tricks. You guys just kind of sit here nice and tight for a few minutes. I don't want you guys hearing anything we're talking about. And then we'll be right back. All right, guys, let's do this.
Yeah, I know, right?
Go this way.
Alright guys, this one's nice and quick because you just need to have just enough information to kind of know what we're looking for when we get over there. So the first time I came over here, this is the new space of the year. So I only had two people last November, and I told them it was just a spirit box, the word list, and an EMF meter. That's all we were using, and I told the young lady with the spirit box, just tell me whatever you hear, because I don't know what to expect in here. Every ghost tour comes in here, I want to know why. So she heard the year 1828 and the name Henry. I was using the word list, and the name Tim showed up. Behind me is a bust of Henry Timrod, born in 1828. Like, again, I can't make this shit up. Kind of like we have that 793 and 4th, like damn close, but the 1828 is spot on. Here's how his story goes. He's a writer, and he's sick through most of his life. He's obviously old enough to go fight in the Civil War, so he goes to fight in the battlefield for the Confederates, because he's from Charleston. He goes out to the battlefield, but his comrades realize he's too sick to fight. They sent him home, knowing he was a writer, and told him to go be the voice of the war. So he came home and started writing poetry about what was going on in the battlefield. Now, once he comes home and he becomes the poet, he's also becoming known as a laureate. Like, that's a pretty prestigious title for us writers, in case you're unfamiliar with that title. So a couple of years go by, he's doing pretty well. He's still poor, but he's a writer. He has a son. That son's name is Willie. He's born on Christmas Eve, but dies 9 months later on October 23rd. We're pretty close to that date now, less than a week. So again, I don't know how this is going to go tonight. He's actually been pretty quiet this month, because he also died in this particular month, October 6th. So him and his son both died in the anniversaries of this month. Anyway, back to Henry. A couple of years go by and he's mourning, him and his wife, and he's not writing as much. His other writer friend, Paul Hamilton Hayne, another pretty famous poet, sees that he is not writing as much as what he's supposed to, because he's not publishing in the paper that he works for. He says, go use my cottage in Columbia. It's the middle of the state. And you can get back on track, leave Katie behind to finish mourning with her parents. Let's get you back to work. So he goes out there and he wrote his last words. His last words were, beholder of brief mortality. And then he basically means dear person with a short life. And then he coughs, and it lands on the page in a blood stain because he had tuberculosis, and he dies, pen in hand. Now, the interesting thing about this story is that blood stain still exists. Why? Because it's in the form of a man writing at his desk. I think your camera's upside down, by the way.
Is it?
Camera always on your left.
Sorry.
You okay? I can probably fix it. Oh no, I'm breaking my damn tablets now. What happened? So I'm going to show you that blood stain, but they only show this book one day a year on Halloween, and it's at the Charleston Library Society, and you have to be a member of the society to be able to go see the damn blood book, which is what we call it now. But the internet's beautiful, so here is his blood stain. Beholder of brief mortality, cough, cough, death. There's his, I know, right? I tell a great tale.
Wow.
So yeah, you can even see how close that is to looks like a man writing at his desk.
Oh, weird.
So good
Oh,
creepy
weird.
story for us to end on, right?
Ooh.
Now,
Wow.
we are going to go talk to Ethan as if he were Henry Timrod. So, she wanted to see it again, apparently. So, what's going to happen when we get over there is we're going to stay pretty tight and close to them. Only because if other tourists start to come in here, which they normally don't, we usually have the whole park to ourselves. I don't like them to steal my ideas and see that I'm blindfolding people in the middle of a random park. You guys are getting the point. But we're going to be filming the entire thing. Becca's mainly the focus there. And then the other two cameras you can view wherever you want to. We have had apparitions from the SLS camera here where we've had interaction, which is part of the reason why I have that camera. First time we had something going on with an SLS camera, it wasn't even mine. Somebody brought one to the tour, one of the big giant chunky ones you guys see on TV. We had an 8-minute interaction right here next to his bust. And when I say interaction, Henry, can I read some of your poetry? Raise your right hand. Look straight up. The only way this gentleman went away was the only female in our group went off to the side over here and outstretched her hand to be shaken, and he disappeared. You have to remember where he came from. 1800s, it was probably very disrespectful for a woman to approach him to shake a hand. So again, we never got him back, but we did have an 8-minute interaction, and we were able to film it with that camera because that guy did not know how to record with his SLS camera. So I had the whole thing on film, and I was like, damn it, I gotta find a way. So I talked to the developers of that app, and have been playing with it and testing it and kind of seeing what works. And we're at a good, I think, sensitivity mode where we have things we can debunk and things that we can't debunk. But I have had another apparition on the other side of that tree of a man reading a book, like sitting down with his knees up and holding the book like this, moving his head and his right leg. So that went on for about 3 to 4 minutes. Again, very interesting, weird things have happened in here. Also keep in mind your EMF readers. This is where I've gotten up to 167. And it was been during this session. So kind of keep that in mind. So a lot of weird things occur here. You may want to pay attention to the tips and tricks that I give them of what to expect, so you guys know what to expect when I'm asking the questions that I'll be asking. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Let's go talk to Henry. Let's see what we can get out of this.
She was trying to dance.
I mean, I don't know.
It's like catching a bus and trying to turn into a person.
Yeah. But it's the weird thing is it's behind it. Like you're looking at his.
Well, that's just a statue.
So it'll be like Ray spoke, and then whatever I see, just make it short, sweet, to the point.
You got it.
Like,
And it'll take a minute to kind of like manifest in front of you at the right time.
Okay.
All right, so that's good. You got it. All right, so give me 1 second to get her set up, and then I'll say, let's get you geared up, and the minute you start talking is when I start the time.
Right on.
So, have you ever used VR before? Okay, I'm just setting it up right now. It just takes a second to calibrate so it knows which direction you're looking. That's why I faced it that way. And I'll start it and slide it into the headset, and you'll put that, you might want to take your glasses off. There was so much on. All right, guys, let's get all nice and tight around here. Becky, go ahead and set your camera down because I'm going to need you in just a minute. Let's find where the start button is. There we go. Love how you're all whispering.
It's a thumbs up.
Perfect. See how that gray smoke is? You're going to see that rolling around in there so you don't fall asleep. And then a picture will appear. Let me see your headset.
Oh, like, oh, that woman.
Yep. See? Yep, exactly.
Oh, okay.
She's already got a picture.
Wow.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hit your record button. Camera on the left. Your focus, in case it's not focused, there's a little dial right here. So go ahead and slide that over your head and get yourself focused. Blindfold,
Suit up.
blindfold, earbuds, and then the noise canceling headphones for you. Slide off and slide over.
Beautiful.
Is that it? Eric McDaniel. He's got to put his earbud in.
My bad. Yeah?
Yeah, they slide down. Can you hear me?
All right. I see a column, a doorway, a door, in a hallway.
Henry Timrod, if you're here, we would like to see something
That
relevant
last night,
for your occupation. No, I was not here last night. Henry, can you show us something or tell us something about your occupation to verify that you're here, please? Don't lean too forward, Paisley. You'll fall over.
my rights,
Rights. What's your occupation? Henry, thank you for that.
basically,
Can you show us one of the tools you had to use? Do you know how to use the green box? Keep an eye on that, the word list and the Ouija board device too, because things might go right there if we're not getting it here. We've seen that before too. Henry, we'd like to hear something about one of the tools you had to use to verify the word
a
rights.
crash when you move.
Henry, can you tell us where you worked? And who did you write for? Did you write books? Did you write for a newspaper? Henry, are you here alone? That's a yes/no question.
I'm not hearing anything right now. It's static.
Henry, I know that this month is rough for you based on the anniversaries of what happened this month. But if you can communicate back to don't want to talk politics with you, Henry. You want to talk about the war that you served in? That's a yes/no question. Henry, you want to tell us what war you served in?
You admit,
Sing it.
be considerate, and
Okay. We'll be a little bit more respectful. Let's talk about your wife. Can you tell us your wife's name, please? Henry, can you tell us your wife's name, please? I'll take her maiden name.
church music. I couldn't make out what they said.
His wife Katie, her maiden name was Goodwin.
Female created them.
So we'll often get the word good if I ask for it, because Goodwin's going to be difficult to find. Henry, can you tell us your wife's name, please? Her maiden name? What word?
It's my job.
We asked about your job. You didn't really give us much other than you write. You didn't tell us what you wrote.
Right now, the directors,
All right. Henry,
and sometimes, I think it said, I close my eyes.
Daisy, how you doing in there? You okay?
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
all lean forward.
Because I guess I'm still waiting for something up other than the hallway that was so clear, crystal clear. I'm not really seeing too much right now, just the smoke.
Hallelujah. They're tampering.
Henry, there's an animal right there right now. Can you tell us what kind of animal that is? What kind of animal do you have now, sir? There's other boxes here. You don't have to just talk through anything. These other boxes too.
I pray, Lord.
Okay.
Standing alone.
I asked you if you were alone. You didn't tell me yes or no. Is somebody else here with you? In about 5 minutes, just so everybody kind of has an idea. See how quick this actually goes. You remember? Any words out of there, Shane? Nothing. How's our word list?
Elemental, tiny, collection, decompose, or
It's Tim. I'll take Tim. That's how I found out about this. No other tour that comes in here talks about it. They're talking about Bjerregaard's back. Nobody talks about Tim yet.
I got
Tim
two
Raw.
things.
You gotta fight.
What'd you get, Shane?
Henry, I asked you about the war that you served in. You didn't want, you told me to be more respectful.
Oh, I literally,
What do you got?
I got this like 5 minutes ago. Not when you asked it, though. I got injured in the line of combat.
I wasn't injured yet. Not in that way. You didn't get any injuries from the
Campfire.
Criminal?
No. Henry, let's go back to your friend Paul. Can you tell us maybe his last name? We want more verification that you're here, please.
All these questions.
Henry, I know you don't always like us being here, but there are no other groups in here.
410. Oh no no. Something about home come true.
Can you tell me where Paul lived? Where was the cottage?
thought I was getting everything.
You're on your way, weren't you? Can you tell us what you died from? Can we ask that question? Watch for the letters TB on there, Shane. Henry, can you tell us how you died?
You can't be. What is this?
Better question. What sound are we hearing right now?
Minimalist approach.
We've had the word bells show up on pretty much every one of your devices when I asked that question, even spelled
But
out.
in addition to these,
What sound did we just hear out of St. Michael's Church?
I got walrus.
Some Beatles going on?
trying to find something. Pray for it.
What sound did we hear? What was
Please don't stop.
I love how he's singing. I don't think anybody's ever done that before. Henry, we're going to wrap this up. We got about a minute left, maybe two. Any of the questions that I've asked, your wife, how you died, what we've heard, feel free to answer any one of them. Or an image. We'll take some images. Paisley's been waiting. She's falling asleep in there. Henry, going once.
I can't make out anything. It's staticky right now.
Do you want us to go home? If you tell us to go home, we will.
Don't publish.
Okay.
Any last images you want to show us, Henry?
And then number 5.
Okay, Henry, I'm going to say goodnight. I will see you tomorrow. Can you say goodnight back to us?
In the ground.
I'm really honestly waiting for another image.
That's why I was hoping he would show up some kind of an image.
Like I do the temptation, make a deal, like we'll leave you alone if you give us an answer, that kind of thing.
Yeah, if we could do that, because that
There's
one
gonna be
image was
7.
crystal clear.
I'm going to call it. Becca, go ahead and tap your mouth for me. Paisley, go ahead and rip that thing off your face. I know you're waiting on the smoke to clear.
Does that mean I'm good to?
Yep.
I just got beautiful soul.
Beautiful soul.
No, beautiful.
That's what I said. Beautiful soul.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
All right, so let's take a look at these images. I think we've gotten like maybe 1 or 2 possible things that are going on with yours. So the woman that you saw, if you guys want to crowd around, because I can't really blow this up to go horizontal, that's the way the app works. I don't know who this is. There's definitely something trying to be spelled out in there. Whenever there's letters that show up in this guy, I normally can't interpret it, just because they don't make any sense. So again, I don't know who this person is, but I don't see any specific attributes. I can't make out a time period. So to me, I'm not going to count this as being part of actual evidence. So I figure out where we're going to go next. So she said she saw columns.
that I did see.
So this is definitely like a hallway with many, many doors or windows. Because they definitely have like a pane at the top of every one of them, which is weird. So I don't know how that would be relative either. And what did you say this was?
I never saw that.
This was the last one that just showed up. So maybe it showed up as I pulled it out of there.
It might have been, yeah.
But I asked him about the cottage in Columbia. I know this thing is run down. But again, I did ask specifically about a cottage. So again, kind of slightly relevant. Every once in a while there'll be something like in there that is like, oh, there's a ring there, or so forth and so on, based on whatever space that I'm using this app in. That's a little